Okay, so we'll start today either sitting on heels or sitting on a chair. If you can take one of those two options, then great. So sitting on heels, you can take height between bum and heels, as much height as you need, so that pressure on knees and on feet is relieved. Or you can be sat on a chair, feet firmly planted on the ground, or you could place blocks under the feet or come a bit further forward on the chair to facilitate that. If neither of those positions are available to you, then you could come to another comfortable seated position. Try and make that something that is stable. So something like Sukhasana would be your next best option. But if it's a choice between, if sitting on heels isn't right for you, then better to take the option of sitting on a chair for the purposes of our practice today, rather than staying on the mat and taking Sukhasana. So whatever you have available and whatever feels right for you, take your time to settle. And allow the body to become a little stiller now as it settles. You could close your eyes or soften your gaze if that feels okay. Bring your attention to your breath. Observing the breath as it comes in, as it goes out in its natural rhythm, so not controlling or changing the breath in any way, just watching it. As you do so, observing the natural balance between inhale and exhale, exhale and inhale. Each inhale naturally leading to an exhale. Each exhale naturally leading to an inhale. Continuing to observe in this way the natural interplay between inhale and exhale. Breath naturally working to maintain a sense of balance between the two. Perhaps you might also notice a sense of the inhale and exhale being roughly of equal duration. So just observe, don't seek to change anything. Maybe what you observe is that the balance is different in duration, but just noticing perhaps also noticing the tiny pause, natural pause at the top of the inhale before the exhale begins. The tiny natural pause at the bottom of the exhale before the inhale begins. Observing this interplay between inhale and exhale as a reminder of the constant work our body, our breath does to keep finding balance. And you might perhaps reflect on that concept of balance in terms of how you apply that to your practice, your physical yoga practice as well. So thinking about the balance we seek to strike in all of our yoga practice between effort and ease. The balance we play with between rooting down into connecting with the ground and lengthening and growing up out of the ground. The balance between softening, releasing, and finding spaciousness, expansiveness in the body. If you want to set an intention for your practice today, take a moment to do that now. If you want to take this opportunity to release the legs out from under you, feel free to do that. If you feel completely comfortable, however you're sat, then stay there. But if you want to release the legs for a moment, maybe rotate ankles, give the legs a bit of a wiggle, feel free to do that. Also, at this point, you might decide to move to a different seated position. So if you've been sat on the floor, you might move to a chair or vice versa. Do what feels right for you. And then when you're ready, come back to your chosen seated position. And once you've come back, then come back to the breath, observing the breath as you did before. And I invite you throughout your practice today to keep coming back to this quality of awareness of balance in the body, balance between inhale and exhale. And now as you inhale, starting to explore a feeling of length in the body. So imagining that you're inhaling all the way up the spine. As you exhale, a feeling of rootedness, connection with the ground. So imagine that you're exhaling out through the sit bones, perhaps into the feet as well. A feeling of them rooting down into the ground. You could lengthen the inhale a little here. And as you lengthen the inhale, notice perhaps how the exhale naturally adjusts to balance that out. So inhale and exhale continue to be roughly the same length. You don't need to count or anything. Although you're lengthening the inhale a little here, try and keep the breath easeful and keep the sense of control over the breath very light. So just taking a little longer over your inhale so you can really explore that feeling of length in the spine, the feel of the spine lengthening up and out of the pelvis, growing a little taller each time. Exhale, sit bones, maybe the feet as well, releasing, drawing down into the ground. Also using your inhales now to explore spaciousness in the body. So inhale up the spine, and at the top of the inhale, a feeling of that inhale arriving in the chest, perhaps the chest lifting a little, lengthening away from the pubic bone and broadening across towards the armpits. As you exhale, a feeling of the tops of the shoulders softening down, feel like that exhale is traveling down the body, encouraging the body to soften, to release a little more until it arrives in the sit bones, the feet, as they release into the ground. And continue to bring awareness to the body through the breath in this way. Thinking also about that balance between effort and ease. So as you've done this, has there crept in any sense of the breath being hard work or bringing in tension? Notice that, find the balance that's right for you. On your next inhale, draw the arms forwards and up, reach up with the fingertips. If this doesn't feel right, say for the shoulders or for any other reason, you could have hands on hips, shoulders drawing back and down. So continue to follow the breath in the same way. And now there's a feeling of the inhale drawing all the way up to the fingertips as the arms extend up all the way up to the fingertips. Can you still find that balance between lengthening up and releasing down? So even as the fingertips are drawing up towards the ceiling, can the tops of the shoulders still soften down away from the ears? And notice too, as you reach the fingertips up, did you become just slightly uprooted through the sit bones? Maybe, maybe not, but just notice. If you have, then can you use the exhale to really find that rootedness again while still maintaining the length? Great. On your next exhale, draw belly and chest round towards the right. Keep belly and chest in line with each other. Don't let the chest race further around to the right. And then you can use another exhale to draw the arms down, bring the right hand to rest alongside the right hip, so either pressing on the ground or against your chair or on some height. Left hand rests on the lap wherever feels comfortable. Try and maintain this quality of length on the inhale, release on the exhale. And more generally, maintain that quality of awareness of finding balance through the breath. As you exhale and the tops of the shoulders soften down, perhaps they could draw back and down a little more, so that in doing so, you're bringing a bit more broadness across the chest. But keep belly and chest in line with each other. See if you can feel into within the body, a feeling of the body revolving around the central column of the spine like a corkscrew. Again, notice in taking this movement round to the right, have your sit bones uprooted just a little, that they benefit from cultivating a little more sense of rootedness on the exhale, or in turning around to the right, have you maybe lost some sense of length in the spine that you could find a little more of on the inhale. So again, just notice, see what balance you can bring to that feeling of rootedness and of lengthening. Inhale back to center, sweep the arms up if you're working with arms raised. And then exhale, draw belly and chest round towards the left. Sweep the arms down, left hand resting by the left hip, right hand on the lap, wherever feels comfortable. Again, maybe on the exhale, the shoulders could draw back and down a little. Keep finding that rootedness. Notice as well where the head is. So is the chin turned round towards the left? So wherever the gaze goes, it tends to be an indication of where the mind is. So it can be very easy for us here and the mind to interpret this gentle twist that we're taking here as an invitation to kind of get as far around to the left as possible. So if your head, your chin is round towards the left, can you draw it back so that the chin is in the center of the chest? So you're still twisting. It might be it might be a very small movement round to the left. The focus is on keeping belly and chest in line with each other, so the deeper abdominal muscles are still engaged. Great. Inhale back to center, sweep the arms up, then the palms to face out. Exhale, sweep the arms out to the side and all the way down. Great. Take a roll of the shoulders one way and the other way. Great. And then in your own time, come to all fours. We're going to ease out with some cat-cow movements. As always, if taking cat-cow from seated feels best for you today, feel free to do that. Otherwise, you're coming to all fours and in your own time, at your own pace, ease into your cat-cows. Excuse me for just one moment. I'm just leaving the room, but continue with your cat-cow. So as you continue with your cat-cows, focusing on movement with the breath, see if you can come back to that same quality of awareness as we've been working with so far. So an awareness of that interplay between inhale and exhale, each inhale leading to an exhale, each exhale leading to an inhale. And perhaps thinking of this movement that you're taking with the spine up and down, this undulating fluid movement with the spine as a kind of physical expression of the breath, of that interplay. Through movement, finding balance, finding equilibrium. Great. Come back to center. We're going to make our way up to standing. If you want to come up via a downward dog and a forward fold, you're very welcome to do that in your own time. You're also welcome to come straight up to standing. Just know that however you come up, we'll then meet at the top of the mat in mountain pose. So take your time. If you're coming straight to mountain pose, you're taking your time to fully consciously come into your mountain pose and to continue observing the breath in the same way as we've been doing throughout in this practice so far. So probably as you first come into your mountain pose, I imagine you've probably gone through your kind of mental checklist, of physically coming into the pose, feet pressing into the mat, tailbone lengthening down, navel towards spine, shoulders drawing back and down. And once you're physically active in the pose, then maintain that and see if you can bring more attention to the breath and stay active in your attention to the breath and awareness of the body. So it can be easy in a still pose like this, in the pose that you know well, for the mind to drift off. See if you can keep the mind with the breath. See if you can bring that awareness to the balance between inhale and exhale, maybe noticing the tiny pauses between each inhale and exhale, each exhale and inhale. And also bring an awareness to a sense of rooting down on the exhale, so an awareness of the feet rooting down into the ground, and then a feeling of lengthening up on the inhale, so that feeling of length in the spine. A feeling of softening and releasing on the exhale, maybe the tops of the shoulders soften down a little more, maybe the face softens. And a feeling of spaciousness on the inhale, so maybe a feeling of spaciousness across the chest from the center out to the armpit. And it might be different parts of the body. It might not be what I'm describing that is where your awareness goes, and that's fine. That's great. Be in your body with your breath. Observe for a few more rounds of breath. Okay. If you set an intention at the start of your practice, take a moment to recall that now. Take an inhale in your mountain pose. Exhale, bring palms of the hands together in front of the heart. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward, so chest draws forwards and down. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, draw the chest forward, all the way up, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bring palms of the hands together, down the midline of the body, past the heart, all the way down, and bring the arms alongside the body back into your mountain pose. So in a moment, we're going to repeat that flow a few more times. Just a note before we do, an invitation really. You might want to watch for a moment or just listen to my words if that feels clear enough. But an invitation to really focus as you fold forward. So you've raised the arms up, or you might have hands on hips, but either way, you're rooting down into the feet. And as you exhale and fold forward, there's a feeling of the chest drawing forward. It's not that it's in a hurry to get down. So you're not kind of not doing this, but more a feeling of the chest drawing forward. So that feeling of the chest lengthening away from the pubic bone. Try and keep that here as if you're trying to bring as much length to the front body as you can. Until then, as the hips start to draw up a little, as you kind of get to this halfway lift point, you then allow the body to release down. So an invitation to find as much length in the front body as you can as you come down. And then same thing when you're coming up. So you've come to a halfway lift, you come back down to forward fold. And then as you draw the chest forwards and up, try and feel like you're really like just coming back up to that halfway lift really, but then continuing the journey all the way up. So as we take a few more rounds of this standing flow, I also invite you to try and bring that same quality of awareness as we've been working with throughout so far. So really focusing on that interplay between inhale and exhale, and thinking of each movement that you're taking as a kind of expression of that. So on each inhale, just feeling into any quality of lengthening or spaciousness in the body. On each exhale, feeling into any quality or sense of rootedness or release in the body. And try and stay in the body with the breath rather than jump into the mind. If you're in the mind's going to be like, there's too many things to notice. I'm not going to get through the tick list of noticing what's lengthening and, you know, what's spacious. It's about just feeling into that quality. Whatever you notice, you notice. And we're moving with the breath. So whatever you notice, and then you get to the next exhale or inhale and you let the last one go. Same thing with the actual pose itself. So if when you come forwards, you think like you I don't know, it doesn't feel as good as you'd like it to in terms of lengthening or whatever, doesn't matter, let it go, you know, just move on. The idea is to keep moving fluidly with the breath. Again, a kind of, just like when we're in cat-cow, a kind of physical expression of that fluidity of the breath, a constant interplay. Okay, so in your mountain pose, and if you want to go at a different pace to me and want to tune me out, feel free, go ahead, or you can stay with me. So take an inhale in your mountain pose. Exhale, palms of the hands together. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, draw the chest forwards all the way up, sweep the arms up. Exhale, palms of the hands together all the way down the midline of the body. Bring the arms alongside you back in your mountain pose. Inhale in mountain pose. Exhale, palms of the hands together. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, draw the chest forwards all the way up, sweep the arms up. Exhale, palms of the hands down the midline of the body, bring them alongside back into mountain pose. Inhale in mountain pose. Exhale, palms of the hands together. Continue at your own pace. Stay in the body, stay with the breath. And if the movements end up different to what we've been doing, no problem. The point is to try and keep that sense of fluid movement with the breath. Just continuing to flow. So when you get to the end of this flow, just keep going. If at any point this flow doesn't feel right for you, you could come to the cat-cows that we were taking before. Keeping that quality of awareness, balance between inhale and exhale. Each inhale naturally leading to an exhale, each exhale leading to an inhale. Take your time, no rush at all. Just knowing that next time you come to mountain pose, stay there. And as you come to mountain pose and come to greater stillness in the body, try and maintain the same quality of awareness with the breath. So even though the body is not moving now as it was, try and still have that same quality of awareness of interplay between inhale and exhale, balance between spaciousness and release, rootedness and length. Right. Okay, so we'll just work a little bit more with flow. So I'll just show you what we're going to do first, so you can decide whether you want to join me with that flow. There are other options too. So in a moment, we'll take a flow, so that same standing flow as before in terms of folding forwards, halfway lift, folding forwards, and then we will plant the hands, take both feet back and draw the hips up and back to come to a downward dog. And then from there, you'll take a few breaths, pausing, and then you'll step one foot, other foot forward to come to your forward fold, and then back from there. Or you could bring the hands back to the feet if that feels better, and then come up from there, and then you've got a step forward to take the flow again. If drawing back to downward dog doesn't feel right for you, you could draw back to all fours, extended child's pose, and then come back that way, if that feels best for you, if that serves you best. If moving back and forth along the mat doesn't feel right for you today, you could continue with the standing flow. So I'll talk us through a couple of rounds of moving back and forth along the mat. If you're taking different variations, then focus not on trying to keep up with wherever I am in my flow, but on matching each movement to the breath. So as an example, if you decide that for stepping back, it's best for you to step back with one foot, bring the knee down, and then take the other foot out to the side and round, then you would step back with one breath, probably an exhale, and bring the knee down on that exhale too, and then an inhale to bring the foot out and round, and then an exhale, come back to extended child's pose, and so on. So Again, try and stay with the breath in the body. Don't jump up into the mind where it will get overcomplicated. Just try and move with the breath. You can't do this wrong. The point is to keep that fluidity of movement in the breath. And at some point, if you're moving back and forth along the mat, try and be in something like either downward dog or extended child's pose, where you can pause for 3, maybe 4 breaths. So you can try and keep that same quality of awareness even in stillness. Is that all okay? Does that make sense? Good. Okay. So you're either flowing with me if you want to take your own flow, or depart at any point and carry on with your own flow, feel free to. So in your mountain pose at the top of your mat, take an inhale. Exhale, palms of the hands together in front of the heart. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold forwards, plant the hands in front of, slightly wider than the feet. Inhale, bring more weight forwards into the hands. Exhale, step the right foot and the left foot back, draw the hips up and back to come to downward dog. Stay with the breath here, same quality of awareness as if you were moving. An awareness of length on the inhale, maybe from wrist to hip. An awareness of rootedness on the exhale, maybe down through the palms of the hands, through the soles of the feet. We're going to prepare to step forwards. We're going to be stepping both feet forwards on one breath. So take an inhale to prepare. And then exhale, step the right foot and the left foot forwards to come into your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, draw the chest forwards all the way up, sweep the arms up. Exhale, palms of the hands together down the midline of the body, bring them alongside you, back into your mountain pose. Inhale in mountain pose. Exhale, palms of the hands together. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold forwards, plant the hands. Inhale, bring more weight forwards into the hands. Exhale, left foot and right foot back, hips up and back to come to your downward dog. Take a few breaths here. Finding spaciousness on each inhale, maybe across the chest or the whole of the front body, maybe into the back body. Finding release and softening on the exhale. Again, maybe that's in the front body, the face, the head, the neck. Preparing to step through, take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, step the left foot and the right foot forwards, come to your forward fold. Or you can walk hands back towards the feet, whatever feels right for you. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, draw the chest forwards all the way up, sweep the arms up. Exhale, palms of the hands down the midline of the body, bring them alongside you into your mountain pose. Take one more round at your own pace. So one more round of whatever flow feels right for you. Again, stay in the body with the breath. Thinking of this as an outward expression of that feeling of constant interplay between inhale and exhale. An expression of the body constantly working, even not consciously, we're not making it do it, but of the body working to find balance, to find equilibrium. So even when you're in stillness, in your downward dog, you're still bringing that same quality of awareness with your focus on the breath. Take your time, no rush at all, just knowing that we'll then meet in mountain pose at the top of the mat. And when you're there, you're continuing with that same quality of awareness. So even though body comes to greater stillness, the awareness is still the same. Great. Bring your hands onto your hips. We're going to, so don't do it yet, but in a moment we're going to step back into warrior one pose with the feet. So I know certainly those of you that are here with me live now, and I'm pretty sure anyone that would be watching this on recorded has practiced this with me before. So we're not spending lots of time practicing on that step through, but I invite you to bring that mindful approach to stepping back into warrior one that we've practiced previously. So rather than just rushing the body into the position, take time to find rootedness through the front foot before you even think about the other foot drawing back. Take time to visualize it before you do it. So just for clarity, don't do it yet, but you'll be stepping the left foot back. So the right foot is your front foot, and then bending into the front knee. So remember, you want the back foot to be at about a 45-degree angle. So toes aren't pointing towards the long edge of the mat, nor are they pointing in the same direction as the front foot. They're somewhere in between. And also check that you have some width between the feet. So it can be very easy when you step the foot back to end up kind of, so if you're stepping the left foot back, you can end up drawing the left foot over to the right as you step, because this hip is opening as you step back. So that'll be one thing to check. There are no prizes at all for stepping back into the perfect position. I don't think I've ever done that. I've always needed to adjust in some way. The more you do it, the greater your proprioceptive skills, that sense of where your body is in space. It's a great exercise for that. But once you've taken that first step back, adjust as you need to. Adjust distance between the feet, length between the feet, and width between the feet. Adjust the positioning of the back foot as you need to. So in your own time, so let my words just kind of, take a moment to kind of let those go so you can just clear the mind a little, and then mindfully take your time to step the left foot back and come into your warrior one pose. You can keep hands on hips. Great. So that back foot, the heel, the back heel in particular, well, the whole of the back foot, but particularly the heel, is really pressing, releasing down into the mat. So as it does, this back leg is really active, strong line of energy supporting you in your warrior pose. Your front knee is stacked above the ankle, not beyond it. And then check the alignment of the hips. So as I mentioned, when you step back and when you come into this position, this left hip opens a little. So we want the hips aligned towards the top edge of the mat. So keep rooting into that back foot as you see if there's any scope for this left hip to draw forward towards the top of the mat a little, and at the same time for the right hip to draw back away from it. So imagine, I know I've said this many times, imagine headlights on your kind of front hip points, and you want those headlights to shine forwards. Great. And then come back to the breath. Try and bring the same quality of awareness here as we've been working with throughout. Inhaling, finding length. Exhaling, finding rootedness. Inhaling, finding length in the spine, the side body. Exhaling, rootedness down through the legs into the feet. Inhaling, finding spaciousness across the chest. Shoulders draw back and down. Exhaling, finding softening and release. Jaw soft, face soft, tops of the shoulders softening down. Lovely. Great. And then from here on an inhale, straighten the front leg. So try and disturb the feet as little as possible as you do this. And just have an awareness of, have you kind of uprooted very slightly as you do that? Can you use the exhales to keep finding that rootedness? Check that the hips are still aligned. They may have slightly as you took that movement. Make sure the knee isn't locked here. So if you find the knee locks, particularly if you're kind of hypermobile around there, you might find that you could bring a very slight bend to the knee. Otherwise, have it straight if you can. Don't lose the back foot. So keep releasing down into the back foot. Take an inhale, see if you can have that feeling of the chest lengthening away from the pubic bone. And then as you exhale, start to lengthen the chest forwards and down. So think about when you were coming into your forward folds earlier, that feeling of the chest lengthening down. Pause at the bottom of the exhale and use your inhale to see if you can find that length again, a feeling of the chest lengthening away from the pubic bone. And then as you exhale, maybe the chest draws down a little more, keep pressing down through the feet, a feeling of the sit bones drawing back a little more here maybe. Repeat that one more time, inhaling, chest lifting, exhaling, chest drawing down. And then as long as it feels okay, particularly for the back, on your next exhale, slide the hands down the front leg. And then they can either stay gripped and pressing against the front leg anywhere but the knee, or if they happen to be within reach of the ground or some blocks, you could have them either side of the foot. Don't strive to get to the floor though. You want to still, even though the chest is releasing down here and you can let the head and the neck release down, you want to feel like there's enough spaciousness, particularly around the belly, the hip area, to let the body lengthen and release down here in your pyramid forward fold. If you can still use the breath to bring that same quality of awareness. Great. Keep the left hand where it is. Bring your right hand onto your right hip. And take an inhale. See if you can have a feeling of the chest lengthening away from the pubic bone a little more. And then as you exhale, draw belly and chest round towards the right. Keep rooting down into the feet. So you're coming into your revolved triangle pose. Use the press of the left hand. So this is where it can be really handy if you've got the hands either on blocks or on the floor. But again, don't strive to get them there. But wherever the left hand is, use the press of the hand to support you, and also see if the left shoulder can draw back and down a bit more. Use the press of the right hand against the right hip to see if the right shoulder can draw back a little more. Spaciousness across the chest, rootedness down through the feet. Super. Exhale back down to center, back into your pyramid forward fold. Use an inhale to draw the chest forwards and all the way up. Exhale, bend into the front knee so you're back into your warrior pose. And then pivot on the ball of the back foot so the toes are pointing forwards. Use an exhale to step the back foot forward so you're back into your mountain pose. Great. So see if you can stay with the breath. You're observing the breath here. Perhaps you're noticing it naturally regulate, adjust. If chances are the heart rate probably raised a little taking those poses. Maybe, maybe not, but if it did, then just observe the breath as it settles. Again, noticing it, just working so subtly to come back into a natural sense of balance, of equilibrium. And then using that focus on the breath to have an awareness of equilibrium in the body. And bring your hands to your hips and in your own time. So again, watch out, particularly when you're taking the second side, so you already know what's coming. Watch out for rushing into it. Take your time to step back into warrior one with the right foot. So left foot is at the front. You're stepping the right foot back. In that same mindful approach, and then taking your time to adjust. If the hips can align a little more, so the headlights are shining forward. Back heel is releasing down, so that back leg is a strong line of energy. Exhaling, finding rootedness down through the feet. Inhale, finding length in the spine, in the side body, in the front body of the chest. lengthens away from the pubic bone. Exhaling, finding softening and release. Face, jaw, shoulders. Inhaling, finding spaciousness across the chest. So don't do it yet, but in a moment you'll straighten your front leg. So when you do that, see if you can really stay rooted through the feet, so you disturb the feet as little as possible. And that's just what you're working to, but also take the time to notice any sense, however subtle, of slight uprooting in the feet as you do this. So when you're ready, use an inhale to straighten the front leg. Lovely. And then take your time to come into your pyramid forward fold. So you're starting with an exhale, lengthening the chest forwards and down. And then you're pausing to use an inhale to keep finding that length, that feeling of the chest lengthening away from the pubic bone. And then the exhale to see if the chest might draw a little further down, increasingly a feeling of the sit bones drawing back. Keep pressing into the back foot. Great. And whenever you're ready, you can use an exhale to then slide the hands down the leg, either pressing the hands against the leg or against the mat or against blocks either side of the foot. So if you're working with this again, and you've got time for more setup, you know, you could kind of make yourself a little tower, make sure it's stable, but a tower of, I don't know, like books or blocks if you have them, or using a chair can be good here as well. So if this kind of height is going to be helpful for you to explore pyramid forward fold, I mean, perhaps we'll do this in a class at some point, but you know, you could make use of a chair like this. Stay with the breath, inhaling. Where can you find a sense of length here? So can you have a feeling of the hips drawing up away from the feet? As you exhale, a feeling of the upper body releasing down to let the head, the neck release. Great. And then keep the right hand where it is. Bring the left hand onto the left hip. Again, try and disturb the feet as little as possible. Inhale, have a sense of the chest lengthening forwards a little more, and then exhale, belly and chest round towards the left. So that feeling of revolving around the spine, just as in the twist that we took from seated earlier. If the left shoulder can draw back and down a little more, and it might feel more comfortable for the heel of the left hand to come more around towards the sacrum, if that feels helpful in finding a bit more openness across the chest. But again, just be aware of that constant interplay between finding spaciousness and finding release. So if, you know, you're kind of really finding that spaciousness and that feels great, but then you lose some of that ability to kind of soften and release down. So what I mean is that you kind of end up bringing lots of tension into the body. So you need to adjust. And the more you work with the body, the more you get a sense of what that your balance needs to be between those two things in that moment. Great. So exhaling back down to your pyramid forward fold, back to center. And then when you're ready, use an inhale. Oh, so bring hands to the hips, sorry. And then use an inhale to draw the chest forwards, all the way back up. And then exhale, bend the front knee. You're back into your warrior one. And then pivot on the ball of the back foot, so toes are facing forwards. Use an exhale to step the back foot forwards, back into your mountain pose. And although the breath may be adjusting, try and stay with the breath so that your quality of awareness feels as undisturbed as possible. Whether you're moving or you're in stillness, whether the breath is soft and easeful, or perhaps taking time to settle a little if you've kind of exerted a little more, and you still maintain that same quality of awareness, of balance, equilibrium in the body, in the breath. Okay. Now making your way down onto the mat. If you want to take a flow to get down, you're very welcome to, or come straight down to sitting. And when you get there, have the legs out in front of you. You can take a moment once you're there to lean back on the hands and perhaps ease the legs out or the hips in any way you want to. If you have a little bit of height that you can take under the sit bone, then I'd recommend doing that. You can always get rid of it if you decide it's not for you, and no worries if you don't have it. And then when you're ready, bring both hands behind the right side, draw the right knee in towards you. So the right foot is as close up towards the bum as you can take it. Interlace fingers and press the hands against the right shin. So you're then using the press of the hands against the shin to help the shoulders draw back and down so that the chest is lengthening up away from the pubic bone. And in doing so, you're bringing more length to the lower back. So protecting the lower back from taking all the weight here, which can so easily happen when you have a leg extended in this way. Be active through the left leg. So imagine you're pushing the sole of the left foot against the wall in front of you. And the feeling too of the back of the left leg releasing down towards the mat a little more. In a moment, we're going to turn round towards the right. Don't do it yet, but just letting you know, because we'll be coming into quite a closed twist. So the abdomen will be quite compressed here, more so than other twists that we've taken so far. If you've got any reason not to want to compress the abdomen, common reasons are pregnancy or being on the heavy part of your period, but there can be any number of reasons why you might not want to do that. So if that's the case, then you'll just turn in the opposite direction to what I prompt, so you're taking a more open twist. If you're doing this with me live and you've got any queries on that, then give me a wave when we come to it. So take an inhale, see if you can bring a bit more lift to the chest, and then exhale, belly and chest round towards the right. So think about when you came into your seated twist at the start, same action. And now the left hand, left arm can come further around that right knee. So you release the right hand, that comes to press against the ground alongside the right hip, or it might be more round towards the back, but keep it close to the body. Left leg still active. Take a few breaths here in your twist. So keep hugging the right knee in, and you're using that press of the left hand against the right knee to help keep that feeling of lift in the chest. Also maybe help with the left shoulder drawing back and down. Press of the right hand against the ground to help the right shoulder draw back and down. Inhaling, finding length in the spine. Exhaling, rooting down through the sit bones. Great. And then inhale back to center. Release the leg. You can lean back on the hands for a moment. Move the legs out. And then take both hands to the back of the left thigh. Bring the left knee in. So make sure that the left foot feels like it's really firmly rooting down into the ground. Use the press of the hands against the shin now. So interlace fingers, press the hands against the left shin. So the shoulders can draw back and down, the chest can draw up. So you've got length in the front body and in the spine. Active through the right leg. Imagine you're pushing the sole of the foot against the wall in front of you. Try and feel like the back of the right leg is releasing down to the mat. Taking an inhale. And then as you exhale, belly and chest round towards the left. You can creep the right hand, right arm round, release the left hand. So trying to find that same sense of the body revolving around the central column of the spine as we were tuning into when we took a seated twist at the start of the session. And coming back that focus on the breath, that sense of balance between inhale and exhale, between spaciousness and release. And twists in themselves are, physiologically, are a great balancer for us, particularly good for balancing the nervous system. As we revolve around the spine that houses the central nervous system, we're working with the central nervous system. Inhale back to center. Exhale, release. Take any final movements you want to there, if you want to, before you then make your way into your Shavasana. We've done quite a lot of closed hip work today. So one thing that you might want to do as you make your way into Shavasana is either take a few breaths in Baddha before you come into your final Shavasana. So where you've got knees out to the side, soles of the feet pressing gently together. Or if you're in a position to, particularly if you're watching this on recorded and you can hit pause, you could take your time to set up a really supportive Baddha here that feels really releasing and good for your full Shavasana. The other thing that you could do is take a traditional Shavasana pose with the legs out long, and take some height underneath the knees. So in doing that, that just allows the knees to naturally just draw out to the sides a little, so you've got just a little bit of openness around the hips and groin. And no worries if neither of those options feel right for you. They're just inviting you to explore a bit of openness around the hips after quite a lot of closed hip work. Take your time to settle. And as the body comes a little stiller now, supported by the ground, as you let go of effort in the body, bring your attention back to your breath. Bringing that same quality of awareness as you've been applying to your practice today, same quality of awareness as we started the practice with. Simply observing now the breath in its natural rhythm. And in doing so, observing the natural balance between inhale and exhale, between exhale and inhale. A fluid movement from one breath to the next. Each inhale always leading to an exhale, each exhale leading to an inhale.
Starting to bring some deeper breaths into your body. Slowly bringing some movement back to your body, maybe wiggling fingers and toes. Perhaps rotating wrists and ankles. Making any movements now, any stretches, sighs, anything that feels good as you bring your full awareness back to your body. Taking your time to make your way back up to a comfortable seated position. Having your eyes closed, your gaze soft as you do that. If you set an intention for your practice today, take a moment to recall that now. Bringing palms of the hands together in front of the heart. Take a moment to be grateful to yourself for making the time for this practice today. And a moment for us to be grateful that we have this practice of yoga available to us, and that we have this means of connection available so that we can gather and practice together in this way. If you want to, you could take a moment to think of anything else that you're grateful for right now. Bowing your head towards your fingertips. Namaste. Releasing your hands, raising your head whenever you're ready. Thank you guys, lovely to practice with you.